Welcome back to the Reality Guys. I'm your host, Billy Blinks, joined as always by my co-host, Brian.
What's going on, buddy?
And a very, very special guest, one we've been looking forward to having for a long time, our dear friend, Logan, more affectionately and famously known, the Amazing Race historian. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. This is something, again, we've been looking forward to. Like I had mentioned here, the Amazing Race historian. He has the TAR story and blog. We'll have it linked here in the description, pop it up here on the screen. But we actually came across you because Brian found you when you were your blog, and I want you to kind of get into your blog, but Brian found you and said, oh my God, he mentioned us. And we said it was very, very early on last year with us starting our podcast. And so, yeah, really quick, what is the TAR story and blog?
Okay, so I guess there's a couple things I do in the blog. One is I've been going through the Amazing Race timeline from the very beginning and do rankings of the legs and the teams all throughout the season, and I do each individual episode blog. So I've been doing that for, I think, about whenever season 19 premiered. So probably about 11 or 12 years or so now. So I'm about 345 or 346 episodes in. I haven't done as many the past few years due to traveling. And then I've done little side projects here. So the one that you guys are more familiar with was the ranking of the Amazing Race recap podcasters. So I've been doing variations of that over the past few years. I think the main sideline project I did was 7 years ago, where it was the funniest Amazing Race fan complaints, where I would take all the complaints from social media and just respond to them in a really sarcastic, almost Colbert Report kind of way, and that got the attention of the Amazing Race Canada producers at the time. So that's how I became friends with all of them, because I got to say all the stuff that they weren't allowed to say.
We're kind of getting known for that too in our own way. So in other shows. So I do have some. So it's funny you mentioned that. I did forget there was rankings, and I don't think we ever made it that high up the rankings.
Oh, the rankings for the recap podcasters. Yeah. Yes. I think you guys got fairly high up there.
I think we were
I think so. Yeah.
I think we were number 10 out of 10.
We're grinding. We're gunning for a spot here. This is the whole ulterior motive to this whole preview.
But we had tough competition because weren't you reviewing like
real podcasts,
like Lulu and Lala or whatever?
They're the alumni were getting in on it. Right. Last season 33 was by far the most number of teams competing within the season that were doing their own recap podcast. Kim and Penn had one.
Yeah, I love the Holderness family, but still though, like, you got your Facebook thing, Kim and Penn. You know what? Leave some space for the rest of us here. Okay. I was big fans of you guys before the season even started. So let's leave it to the guys over here.
There were 27 different recap podcasts last season, which was the most I've ever seen cover the Amazing Race. I was telling you guys before recording, but there were at most maybe 3, maybe 4 podcasts even 10 years ago. And now we're up to 27 because alumni couldn't podcast about before. Back in the day, 20 years ago, contestants weren't allowed to write or say anything about their experience unless they're accompanied by a CBS representative to do exit interviews. That was about the extent of it. Now it's just you fire a message away to a contestant and you're allowed to interview them who was on the show 10 years ago or so, or now contestants can have their own recap podcasts that are partially vetted, especially after Penn accidentally spoiled his own victory on their first podcast.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he said, we won. And he said that in his very first podcast. And then Kim had to quickly interrupt him. And then the following episode came out to say, well, we have to record our podcast, send it into CBS to get approval, and then post it online.
Because of Penn.
Because of Penn.
That's so classic. I mean, it makes him so relatable. And that's what's great. I love it. And like we said, the last thing we'll kind of say before we get into the main event is like, that's kind of why we've really taken to the Amazing Race, other than the show being straightforward and us enjoying it, is the community has been so positive. We love the Amazing Race community, by far the most positive community that we deal with. And we deal with dozens of different reality show communities and by far the nicest people we've met.
Yeah, as long as you're in the right places.
I mean, Brian, am I wrong? I mean, that's definitely the most positive I think, as far as fan community.
Yeah, I mean, we cover a ton of shows, and I would say generally, because Bill and I do all the YouTube comments, they were the least negative as a whole compared to other shows we cover. So that's what I think he's referring to. Like, everyone's like, oh, we love the show. We love these people. And anytime we said something wrong, they're like, hey, this is what really happened, but thanks for watching. There was never, it was always just like a nice send out on the way out. So
basically, I think it's all Canadian people watching our videos. I think there's no Americans watching because that's where they save it for The Bachelor. You know what I mean? So,
and the rehearsal.
Oh God. That's a whole other video. But as you can see here in the title, the reason we're here, the reason we thought it'd be great to have Logan, it's your first time watching one. We love to do season previews of these shows. However, we do it a little bit different than all the other podcasts do. The other podcasts kind of do research and look in and backstory and fun anecdotes. We don't do that. So what you're going to get from us is blind viewing of the contestants for the first time with a 1-paragraph bio. And we are going to just judge these people blindly like most people do when they're watching reality television. So I'm going to pull up the screen here and we're going to go from there. Make sure I'll give props here. We are using parade.com as the kind of source here for our guide. So Asha, Lal, and Nina Dong, they are engaged from Marina Del Rey, California. Asta is 33, works as a VP of Ops. Nina, 34, Director of Business Development. Couple has been together for 4 years, recently got engaged. Asta is living out of her fan dream of going to compete on The Amazing Race, especially alongside her fiance. They call themselves mentally threatening, hoping their brain power can get them a nice chunk of change for their upcoming wedding. Brian, Logan, thoughts?
I really appreciate that they actually have like left and right of who they are. Because last season when we did this, we had no idea who was who. It was like the same, like two women.
Very good point. Very good point. Yeah, this looks like a normal kind of couple. This is like this is one of these standard. We kind of have the stereotypical couples that we got here. So we have the female couple. They looks like they're all business, literally VP of Ops, business development. I don't know. Okay, down the middle for me right now.
Yeah.
I should note, I think the pronunciation of it's supposed to be Asta, like in pasta. I believe that was pointed out to me at some point.
Perfect.
I know a lot of people are going to be, it's going to be fun on social media to see how many people misspell her name or how many times it gets mispronounced. And to leapfrog off of the people being on the left or right and not getting mixed up, there was a funny moment in season 32 where there was a team called Hung and Chi. And I think I was recording with a friend named Michelle, and she was getting frustrated that she was mixing them up. And she said, I want the woman to be Chi and I want the man to be Hung. And we could not continue recording for about 5 minutes due to hysterical laughter after that.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so I appreciate that. We're going to keep moving now. Second group here, Abby Garrett and Will Freeman. Abby on the left, Will on the right. Childhood sweethearts from Birmingham, Alabama. Abby, 24, is a data scientist. Will, 25, is an accountant. The couple has been dating for 8 years, but have known each other since they were kids. They hope that familiarity will lead to a successful dynamic on the race. They both grew up watching The Amazing Race, consistently game planning how they would do on the race, and we'll see how the preparation translates from the couch seat of a taxi. Okay, this is the first one. We're going to get probably plenty of these. This is we watched the show and we know exactly what we would do better. Logan, I'm sure there's been plenty of these in the past, right? Where they, the super fans, right?
Yeah, you get the bio doesn't really indicate whether or not they've traveled that much, because they've had teams from the past where they love to do super fans from the American South, so getting off the couch to travel, so to speak. And a lot of those couples tend to be really out of their element and go home early. So I'm curious if they'll end up being that type, especially when their job description doesn't indicate a physical job either. So
good point.
That's true.
Although Will looks like he works out quite a bit in his picture, and they are a bit on the younger side, so that'll probably help. So again, we don't have much info based off of these bios, but
I did appreciate that the first couple had the matching jumpsuits. I don't like that they have offsetting blues. Something that is a red flag for me.
Right, and one's a V-neck, one's not. I worry about couples fighting.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah. So like if they're sweethearts, high school sweethearts, I'm worried. If they haven't traveled like Logan says, I don't see him going far.
Remember, we get to tell our own story on this preview.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Aubry Aries and David Hernandez. Aubry on the left, David on the right. Ballroom dancers from Los Angeles. Ooh, I like this. Aubry, 29, is a dance studio owner. David, also 29, is a helicopter mechanic. I thought they were ballroom dancers.
Right.
Ballroom dancer at night, helicopter mechanic by day.
The two met when David took one of Aubry's dance classes years ago, and it was love at first step. They talk about how well balanced they are as a pair, with David's patience and Aubry's passion and leadership as a businesswoman.
Well, it wasn't too long ago that a dancing couple took the whole thing. So
okay.
So, and they were roughly the same age as Aubry and David, I believe. So I wouldn't be. Those are quite diverse skills to be a dancer and a helicopter mechanic. So you think you would cover a fair amount of bases in terms of skill set on the Amazing Race. So, physically fit, and then being a mechanic too, I would assume they could go far.
Brian,
I agree. Based off last season, like with the dancing, some of the challenges, if they have coordination and can dance, I think it's a pro.
Like Donald, where's your trousers?
Yeah, Donald, where's your trousers?
Honestly, I'm not fans of them. I don't like the identity crisis aspect here. I like you to know who you are. Are you a ballroom dancer? Are you a helicopter mechanic? I just think that indecisiveness may end up costing him on the race.
Fair enough.
Can't even take my own take seriously. Okay, here we go. Ooh, Derek Zhao. Wait, wasn't Derek just on the challenge? We're covering. We literally just covered this guy on a different show. All right, so Derek Zhao and Claire. Oh boy, Rufus.
Yeah, let's go Rufus.
Let's go Claire. We do this all the time. Yeah, we change names all the time on show. So Claire Rufus, Derek Zhao on the left, Claire Rufus on the right. Reality romance from Los Angeles, California. Derek, 24, is a product manager. Claire, 25, is an AI engineer. The pair both appeared on our screens last summer, albeit competing against each other on Big Brother 23. That's a big red flag.
Yep.
We don't like Big Brother. We're out on these people already. Despite both losing the game, they found love in Jury House, and they have been going strong for nearly a year. This is Derek's third CBS reality show, having also just appeared on the Challenge USA, and he hopes their chances of winning will finally not go down the latrine.
No.
Yeah, Logan, you got any impartial takes on these guys because they're Big Brother, so we're out.
Very mixed results for Big Brother crossover teams. There's been 4, aside from the reality showdown season, there's been 4 individual Big Brother teams that have crossed over to Amazing Race. So one went out really early. One team went out right in the middle of the season, and then 2 of the teams have gone to the end. Well, one team went to the end multiple times and lost both times, and another recently won not too long ago. So, I mean, they'll at least get halfway through. And if you're familiar with CBS reality shows, that you won't get fazed by how the production works and having to go through that learning curve. So CBS alumni tend to have that somewhat unfair advantage, some people would say. So they won't be nervous about that going on. They'll be able to ignore that, get used to the cameras right away. Especially Derek, who I don't think he's had a break from reality TV whatsoever. It seems like for a full year.
Seems like an addiction. Seems like an addiction, right?
Yeah, he'll be on Survivor, I'm sure, in no time.
You just probably.
And then All-Star seasons.
You've spoken into existence.
The fact that they're in it as a couple, I have no faith in them.
Okay. This is Emily Bushnell and Molly Sinnert. Emily on the left, Molly on the right. Long lost twins from Ardmore, Pennsylvania and Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, respectively.
Bill,
twins, Basil.
Twins. Bill, Ardmore's like 10 minutes away from me.
I know. Emily's mom, my wife's mom, lives in Ardmore.
Okay.
It's so funny. Now we have a local favorite. Emily, 36, is a law firm admin. Molly, also 36, is a healthcare admin. The twins were separated at a young age when they were adopted to separate places from South Korea decades ago. They met just a year ago after a DNA test brought them back together. Thank you, Ancestry.com. And they're looking for a makeup for lost time. And those years apart have led them to lead completely different lifestyles, with Molly growing up as a dancer and Emily currently is single. This is cool. I like this one.
I want them. They're a front runner for me.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't think they will win, but I will want them to win.
It's a cool story. Has there ever been long lost twins, Logan?
Not twins, but there was a mother-daughter that was very recently reunited, and they were on season 17, and they did not do well. Nice people, very nice people, but they were out of their element very,
right, this guy knows
very
his
quickly.
Stuff.
What?
But guy knows his stuff.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Knows his stuff.
That's why he's here.
Glenda and Lumumba Roberts. Ooh, I like this. Newlyweds. This is going to be good. From Norcross, Georgia. Glenda, 41, is an insurance underwriter. Lumumba, also 41. So can we go with La Bamba?
Just keep thinking of Mumba number 5.
All right. So La Bamba number 5, also 41, is a middle school teacher. This couple has only known each other for 2.5 years, having been married for 1. But they're ready to take on problems of any size. I feel like that's a pun on them, on the race, which may work to their advantage considering the 7 inches. Well, okay, they bring it up. The 7 inches of height discrepancy between them.
Okay.
I mean, they look pretty athletic, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, is he super short and she's regular height, or is he regular height and she's super tall?
Yeah, we don't get them in comparison. I got to see the cast photo again.
That's a good call, actually. The newlywed thing's tough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. They haven't known each other for that long, and they both seem to have fairly demanding jobs. So I don't know if they've had much time to really travel together. I think Lumumba's the guy on the right. Yes, I don't want to mix that up.
Yeah, La Bamba, number 5.
Yes.
Oh, Bamba.
I would say I don't know if the height difference hasn't really been a big deal for different teams in the past. There was a really famous all-female team that did really well both times that they raced. And there was another all-male team that also had a big height difference, but I don't think the height impacted why they went home early. They just didn't work together too well. I will like to point out, though, that Lumumba's Lumumba number 5 coincide with this podcast. I am the guest here. He's a middle school teacher, and I always say that being either in the military or being a school teacher tends to really help you out more than any other occupation on the Amazing Race, along with a decent level of physical fitness. So not really sure where to exactly place them, but they're going to have to learn how to communicate very, very quickly.
Very quickly, right? Okay. Linton and Shariq Atkinson. They're a father and daughter. There you go. Check. There's our first father-daughter from Brooklyn. Linton, 50, is an assistant principal. So there you go.
Assistant to the principal.
You're right. Assistant to the principal. Excuse me. Shariq, 23, is a master's student. The father-daughter duo came into the race with their own international experience, having immigrated from Jamaica in 2001, the same year the Amazing Race premiered. The two are thrilled that they now get to see the world after vicariously experiencing throughout their years of fandom. It's curious. I mean, again, we have very limited experience with the Amazing Race, 2 recent seasons, and Brian and I went back and did the retro season 1 review. It's mixed bag with father and daughters. Like sometimes the fathers can be total dickheads and it just doesn't work because they won't listen to the daughter, or they can be super cool. So I'm curious, Logan, what do you think? What's like the historic data usually been on the father-daughter teams?
I don't think a father-daughter team has won in any of the international franchises off the top of my head, and they don't tend to do too well. I mean, the recent example would be Arun and Natalia, who got saved by 300 non-elimination legs.
Yeah.
There's been, early on in the first 10 seasons, there were 2 father-daughter teams that come to mind. And they would do well in the first two legs, and then they would make some sort of mistake, or there'd be one clash, and they just couldn't bridge that gap, and would burn out shockingly early. There has been one father-daughter team that's competed twice. First time they made it all the way to the end, then they were brought back, and they held their own in the returning season. And then there was an infamous incident in one of the international versions in one of the Asian seasons where the father quit while in first place in the final leg. He took they were in first place, and they had the finish line in Singapore. I don't know if you guys are aware of this building in Singapore, the Marina Bay Sands Hotel building. It's really famous in Singapore, and I think he had to walk a zip line between two of the buildings. They've done it on Amazing Race season 25 as well, and he just refused to do it. So they were gonna win this. They were gonna cross the finish line first. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Amazing Race Asia 4 that aired back in 2009. But he quit, and they lost because of that. That's the closest a father-daughter team has come to winning.
Wow. So yeah, if you're betting at home, Linton and Shariq, if you want to go for the odds, probably not high, but you never know. So awesome. That's good. Okay, next, Luis Colon and Michelle Burgos. Okay. Luis, 34, is a firefighter. Okay. Michelle, 34, is a professional backup dancer for Pitbull.
Dolly.
She and her husband are going from Mr. Worldwide. Damn it. I was about to do a Mr. Worldwide to some worldwide travel in the Amazing Race. No matter what missteps they may take or fires they need to put out, the married couple wants to walk away from the race having enjoyed every bit of the experience. I want them to kind of last for a while so I can continue the Pitbull references. That's going to be big for me.
Same. How do firefighters do?
Firefighters, oh no, some of them have gone home really early. I just covered season 22, and the firefighters were the first ones out.
Well, the cops were out last year, right? The singing police officers.
Yeah. And they got a redemption and still didn't do well.
Oh yeah, they came back because of the restart, and then they lost again.
The singing, they were good.
There are so these people. I'm getting pro Pitbull. So are you pro Pitbull?
I'm sure they were hoping that they would go to Alaska, because there's that story where Pitbull said, vote for where I should do a concert. And a bunch of people online trolled Pitbull and voted some really small town in Alaska. And that's what won the most votes. So Pitbull had to do a concert in Nowheresville, Alaska. So maybe Michelle had to be a backup dancer for that concert.
So she's traveled, though.
If she's a backup dancer, she'd have to be going to every performance that Pitbull has, including the one to Alaska, I guess.
Does Mr. Worldwide fly everyone around on his jet?
Definitely not. No PJs.
No PJs. No PJs. Okay. Next.
This team, I think that team's going to do well. I'll say that.
Well, I'm actually
I like them too. They were matching shirts too, Bill.
Well, and then we got another matching shirts here for Marcus and Michael Craig. Marcus on the left and Michael Craig were both military brothers from Richmond Hill, Georgia, and Alamo Gordo, New Mexico, respectively. Marcus, 38, Army tank commander. Michael, 30, Air Force fighter pilot. Marcus has inspired his younger brother throughout their lives, from getting into the military to becoming a fan of the Amazing Race. The duo not only enter the race with a lot of travel experience, but some surprising brain power in Michael's Ivy League education. Ooh. Heavy hitters here, guys. Logan said military's good. Ivy League's good. Fighter pilot good. Matching shirts good.
And also in shape. Checking a lot of boxes.
I can't help but notice the Under Armour logo on their shirts, because Under Armour has been a sponsor of the Amazing Race since about season 19 or 20. So clearly they have stuck around since that's not been blurred out.
Okay.
It's good to know, actually.
I like them. I think they can make it like over half.
I like them. I mean, they're definitely got to be up there in the favorites. So, yeah. All right. We got 3 more teams, and then we'll scroll back through, and we are going to make our blind choice. That's also a mattress ad. Quentin Perrone and Maddie Lynch. Quentin on the left, Maddie on the right. Former Rams cheerleaders from Pasadena, California, and Vista, California, respectively. Quentin, 29, is a choreographer. Maddie, 27, dance coach. Pair met, became best friends in the years they spent as cheerleaders for the current Super Bowl champions. Feeling their best skills is their balance. They hope to be able to make the moves both strategically and literally it takes across the finish line first. Athletically fine.
Cheerleaders don't have a history of doing too well on the Amazing Race. There was a really good team of cheerleaders. Granted, they struggled throughout most of the season on season 27, but overall, cheerleaders don't do too well. Although in the Australian version, there was a team of cheerleaders who were runner-ups unexpectedly. They defied all expectations, but if you want to judge by trends, could be early exits.
They think this could be a surprise middle of the road team. I'm not sure. I don't see winners though. I don't see winners.
I'm going to say early exit too.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends how much preparation they've done beforehand, I think, or if they were just recruited based on being cheerleaders.
Rich Kuo and Dom Jones. Rich and Dom, left and right, motivational speakers from Huntington Beach. We had a lot of history with motivational speakers from like The Bachelor. Rich, 32, is a life coach. Dom, 35, a gym owner. Two have been partners for 3 years and true to their vocations. Both hope to serve as motivational light. Oh, God. To both viewers and the world at large. The pair hopes Dom's social game will take them far as her self-proclaimed Mer Fairy vibe will hook. I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, we're out. If you didn't see Brian's baseball, I believe that was out.
It's 3 strikes for me.
I think she's the only one in the cast with longer hair than me.
Logan, how does Mer Fairy usually do in
well, in the
mythological beast
race, Vietnam 20s. No, I'm just kidding.
Mer people.
Yeah, like the Harry Potter leg of maybe they'll do well on that or something.
Hey, when they were in Gringotts?
Yeah.
Gringotts. Yeah, that would actually be a good one. Amazing Race. Like the wizarding world.
Like strictly myth, like fantasy shows, and you gotta like go to like Middle Earth and things like that.
No, we could do individual seasons, like Middle Earth Amazing Race would be classic.
Oh, they've kind of done that because Phil Kogan's originally from New Zealand, so they get brought to New Zealand every once in a while, although their last visit was back in season 22. Presumption is because it's expensive to get to New Zealand and Australia, but they've gone to a few Lord of the Rings locations on the Amazing Race. Especially in the early years when Lord of the Rings was at peak popularity.
Yeah, the early 2000s, definitely.
Well, it's coming back.
As for this team, complete wild card. I don't know.
No idea.
Yeah, they could be early. They could be out early, or they could win the whole damn thing.
I can't tell if they're fiery or not, or if they're chill. I can't tell.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
If they're competitive or too nice, or if they're looking for specific camera time or legit competitive. Yeah. I'm very curious to see how this team does.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Is that Rex Ryan?
That's Rex Ryan.
Is that Rex? He's got a Tootsie's hat on, a Nashville hat. Oh my. Yeah. Oh my God. What? So Rex Ryan was an NFL head coach.
He likes feet.
Yeah, he's a foot guy.
Like Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. Tim Mann and Rex Ryan, golf buddies from Brentwood, Tennessee. So yeah, that Tootsie's, that's a Nashville bar. So Rex, 59, current ESPN analyst, who's most well known for his 8 years in the NFL as a head coach of the New York Jets and Buffalo Bills. Tim, 40, is a probation officer. The two met almost a decade ago, and their friendship only grew. And Rex helped Tim get through a difficult time with his mother's ALS diagnosis, despite branding themselves Team T-Rex. The pair hopes their chances of getting a W won't go extinct anytime soon.
All right, they're going to be very entertaining.
Rex Ryan. Logan, do you know anything about Rex Ryan?
Him as a person? No, I have no
he's
idea.
funny.
He speaks his mind. So if he's on the show, the longer he's on, he will be interesting and funny, I will say. But the thing is, he's not in shape. He used to be way fatter than he is now. So that's a worrisome. He's got to run up some steps.
He is tied as being the oldest person to run the race in season 23 and the overall second oldest in season 19 when Amazing Race stopped casting anyone over the age of 60.
Yeah, I was gonna say we just watched season 1 and that couple was like 105.
Oh no, you're talking about Dave and David Margareta.
Yeah. We love them though.
We did.
I love the team name though.
Team T-Rex. I mean, a T-shirt. Yeah, I mean,
cool. I'm into it.
It's already branding.
Yeah,
I wonder if I can get a Team T-Rex.
I would wear the hell out of that.
He's the second person named Rex to compete on the Amazing Race. Believe it or not, there was another Rex in season 2 of Amazing Race Canada, and he was a ballroom dancing champion who got recruited for Amazing Race Canada. He was also a very interesting guy. He fought with me on Twitter a few times until he caught on to my jokes. And then during Amazing Race Canada season 2, it was the only season where they had 2 reunion shows. They had a mid-show reunion and then a finale reunion. So at the mid-show reunion, he got a lot of airtime. And then it was either him or his partner who were like, oh, and for anyone on Twitter with 8 followers and an egg profile picture dissing us, you're not better than us.
You're like Kick Rocks. All right, guys, here's the whole cast. We can scroll back through the names, but if anybody knows who they want or think already, point them out and I'll make sure I'll pull their names up. I'll scroll back over. Bry. I mean, I have the Ardmore twins is like kind of we usually like adopt one as like our team, like our like group one. So I think that should be our like fan friendly one, but we don't think they're gonna win. So that's our side. They're our side pieces.
Just guaranteed twin Basil.
Twins Basil. Damn. I wish I could go with the Rex.
I know. I really want to go with Team T-Rex too. I feel like we're gonna pick the same people. Like I kind of want the military brothers to win, or I think we'll win.
You should take them. I mean,
but I don't know. I kind of want Mr. Worldwide too.
Oh man, Logan, where are you? Where are you leaning right now?
I'm trying to remember who I already said who I thought was gonna do well. I said,
you notice how they made La Bamba number 5 Neil.
Logan, I think you said the helicopter pilot, right? Team was that one the dancers?
I did say that they would do well, and the one other married couple, I think, Luis and.
Yeah, that was Mr. Worldwide. That was Team Worldwide.
And I think you also said good things about the height disadvantage or the height discrepancy couple too.
Right,
yeah, after travel, it's too bad you can't do follow-up questions with them. I think the engaged female couple there, I think they're going to do well. They seem to be they both have physical strengths and mental strengths as well. And then one thing to note about the twins, even though the long lost team from season 17 did not do well, all female Asian teams in Amazing Race Asia do really, really well overall. So I don't know which piece of data is going to win out. And then the other thing, the fact that they're twins, is that twins can do well on the Amazing Race, but they'll make the same mistake. So either they're going to they're at the front of the pack, but they're not different enough to where
that makes sense.
To where they can't catch each other's mistakes. That's with the military brothers. They're very similar backgrounds, probably similar way of thinking. Granted, the younger brother has the Ivy League background, but the older brother, as someone who has 2 older brothers, the older brother tends to win out in the debate or the argument. Yeah. So even though the younger brother might be smarter overall, he might have a tougher time convincing the older brother, especially when it's an 8-year gap. It's tough to win the older brother over. And even when you bring up legitimate points, I know that from personal experience.
I think I'm going to go with Asha and Nina.
Who's that?
The engaged
first couple.
Okay.
They're smart. They have real jobs. I feel like they can handle pressure. They look like they're in decent shape. I think about the stuff like the dancing ones and the singing ones and stuff like that. And I can see some of them not doing great. I tend to try to go, I mean, I don't know, and Logan can tell us if it's mixed gender couples or like same sex couples tend to end up doing better in general, but I think this time I'm going to go with that. I think it's a little different than my picks normally are. I usually go for like the physical titans, and I'm going to mix it. We go for some sophisticatedness a little bit this time.
Yeah, same-sex female couples are very, very rare in the American version. Extremely rare. Like they even had a blind date season where it was just all couples, where half the couples were blind dates and then half the couples were pre-existing couples. They didn't have a same-sex female couple amongst the entire cast.
Okay, so what are you guys going with here?
Logan, what you got?
I had Asha and Nina up there quite high, but I can't just duplicate. So let's see. I could go with Mr. Worldwide.
I think I'm gonna go Mr. Worldwide if you're not gonna take him. That's why I'm letting you go first.
You were more pro Mr. Worldwide than I was. I'll let you take him. Okay, I'll go with what was it? No, I don't want the cheerleaders. I think they're gonna go out early. Motivational speakers.
This was the helicopter
card. You want to do Tim and Rex? I think they'll be out very early.
So what are you thinking? I can go back. Here we
go. Father and daughter. Geez, really already eliminated myself based on the freaking data I have in front of me.
I know, this is what we're doing. This is what we do.
The helicopter mechanic. Yeah, let's go with that couple.
Okay,
Aubry and David. Aubry and David.
Aubry and David. That's a very strong pick. Okay, that was awesome. Now, that was by far the most informative preview we've ever been able to do. You definitely colored the lines in more than enough. And usually we were literally arguing over like who looks like they would beat somebody in a foot race, basically. So we did, as we close out here, it is interesting, and I wanted your take. They're advertising some kind of changes here for the race. The chief amongst them that we saw was no elimination legs. Now, if anyone's watched any of my coverage, me and Brian usually complain when it's a non-elimination leg or someone gets saved, etc. You on Twitter, when I posted that, said this would be like a nightmare, and I would like you to kind of like let me know why, and our audience to know why.
Okay, so Amazing Race, the American version, has always had a 12-episode order since season 14. So there's 12 teams, so they can't have episodes where they can't have somebody eliminated every episode, because the final leg would only have one team left, or I guess they're down to 0 teams. So what happened was season 12 way back, they had 11 legs, and that was the thing before the season was, there's no non-elimination legs, but then they threw in 2 non-elimination legs while the episodes were airing, despite contradicting the preseason promos. So for this season, I assume, because people will call them out for what happened in season 12, I'm going to guess it's going to be either keep on racing, to be continued, double length legs, or the mega leg, which is essentially a double length leg, and just use that to fulfill the 12 episode order. Otherwise it would be done after 10 episodes. So that can't happen. And they're not doing any crazy. The last 2 times they had 12 teams, they had a really stupid starting line or mid first leg elimination twist. So this is the first time since seasons 3 and 4 where they're having 12 teams properly compete all the way through to the end of the first leg.
That's interesting. I think you're kind of right. We're probably going to get some kind of dramatic, like someone crashes or they're in the middle of a competition or racing to the finish line, and there's 2 teams that to be continued, like the kind of, Brian, when we don't get a rose ceremony or something. You know what I mean?
Jersey Shore edit us.
We're watching the challenge and we don't see the actual elimination like battle. We just see the lead up to it. So that is interesting. Like you said, it's like, hey, they still have to have the same amount of people in the final leg. So it's just an editing, and it's kind of like a marketing ploy, basically.
Yeah, it'll probably be most likely 1 keep on racing leg. And then I think because season 32 had the mega leg twist, which was essentially the double length legs they used to do in some of the earlier seasons. I think they stopped doing that in season 10 was the last time they did that, or season 14. Depends on how you count it. So I assume they're probably going to bring some variation of that twist back as well.
Awesome. Ooh. So you have our picks. We're going to be looking forward. We're going to cover every week of the Amazing Race USA. Make sure you check out Logan's stuff. Obviously, his podcast, the RTV Warriors, the Tar Story and blog. Like I said, we're going to link both here in the description. Logan, this was an awesome conversation. You did not disappoint. I would love to maybe even have you back, maybe after the season's over, even do the finale. we want to keep the integrity of your reviews, obviously, during the season. So, but no, you're welcome on anytime. And, it's definitely at some point, maybe we'll talk some of the other amazing races. Brian and I are going to do some more retro reviews of old seasons and stuff. We'd love to have you on for some of that stuff too. But definitely when we get through this season, I want your thoughts, unless there's some crazy controversy that happens where we have to pull you in.
Yeah.
Man, really, really appreciate it. Everyone, make sure you're liking, subscribing to our stuff, to Logan's stuff. Like I said, amazing race coverage every week once it starts in September, along with Survivor. You can see all the other stuff we're covering, Bachelor, Challenge, any of the Jersey stuff. So just check out our page. And like I said, maybe you'll come on one day and comment about us on a blog and we'll become friends. But until that day, for myself, Brian, Logan, thank you. Peace.